Happy New Year and Happy New Series. In this series, we are going to cover all of the different tools and blades that you can use in your Silhouette machines, and we are starting off strong with the sketch pens and the pen adapters. By the time you're done with this video, you're going to be able to use whichever pen you'd like in your Silhouette machine, regardless of which one you're running, to create beautiful projects. Now today we are just doing demo work. We're not going to have a finished project. That video is going to come out next week. I've got some awesome pens coming in. I can't wait to try them. So if you want to stick around for that video, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when that comes out. Next, we're going to move on to the embossing tool. We'll be using the embossing mat, and I will be using this on the Curio 2. That can also work with the Cameo 5, so just keep in mind as we go through this series that not all of the blades and tools work in all of the machines. The newer ones typically work in the Cameo 5, the Curio 2, and some of them with the Portrait 4. I'm excited to do the heat foil pen. I know I've done a couple of videos on them. It's actually my favorite tool, but this time I'm going to be using it in the Portrait 4, and that's coming up as well. So make sure that you stick around for this amazing series, and let's learn something new. These are the pen adapters that I have. I am missing set A. Set A is for the older Cameo machines, I believe up through the Cameo 3. I do have the adapter for the Silhouette sketch pens. This comes in a set of 4 adapters to adapt different tools to the Cameo 4 and the Cameo 5. This one, the blue one, specifically works with the Silhouette sketch pens. You can see that it does have a number 1 imprinted on it, and that means that it goes into tool holder 1. In order to use this, you open up the latch on the side here. The sketch pen is going to fit right down inside of there, and then you snap it back to where it's closed, set it into carriage number 1, and push in your tab. Now this should be all set to go. This is a set of 24 Silhouette pens. It's a pretty good variety, but just know that these do not last a long time. The colors are great. The ink shows up really nicely on different papers, but again, they only last a short amount of time. So I don't necessarily recommend using the sketch pens. It is nice that Silhouette offers the different pen adapters. This one is pen adapter set B. It also has a 1 imprinted on the collar there, so you know that it goes into tool holder number 1. Many people took issue with this because if you wanted to do a sketch and cut it out, you had to swap out your tools in between. They've corrected that issue with set C. Set C has a number 2 imprinted on it, and that goes in the second tool holder. If you're running the Cameo 5, that's nice because now you can actually use 2 different colored pens at the same time, which is what I'm going to show in just a little bit. Now, in order to use the pen adapters, they're pretty much the same. They both have the bottom cap. I know they look different, but this goes on the end here before you put your pen in so that you know how far to put the pen in. Each one of them has 3 different collars. There's a small, medium, and large collar, and my pen is super skinny. So I'm going to go with the small adapter, and they are all marked. You can see the S on this one. There is an M on this one. This is the medium adapter, and this is the large adapter. So you have 3 sizes. You just need to pick which one you need to use. In order to get your pen in here, you want to put the collar in and twist just a little bit. You want to make sure that the threads are lining up properly. And take your pen and set it down in there. Let's take that cap off for a second. You can see that it does come out the bottom. Now this bottom cap is going to help adjust the height of the pen so that it doesn't drag your paper when you're sketching. Now that it's set in there properly, you're going to twist the collar until it's tight enough to hold the pen steady. That's not quite tight enough yet. You don't want to tighten it too far. I've cracked, I think, 3 different pen adapters because I was tightening the collar too much. So you just want it tight enough, but not too tight. And then again, this one goes into carriage number 1. Set it down in there, push your tab in, and then that's ready to go. We're going to pick the small adapter for pen set C and do the same thing. Now you can see that this one goes further out, and that's because they've modified pen adapter 2 to fit a little bit larger pens as well. So we definitely need the cap for this one. This one has a little notch on it. You have to line it up properly or you're not going to be able to get it on. So you want that all the way on. You want your pen touching the bottom of the inside, and then tighten it down. Remove the cap and place it in tool holder 2 and press in the tab. Now I'm going to be able to do a multicolor design with these pens. Let's head over to Silhouette Studio now and take a look at how to set up these sketch projects in the software. Now I do have 2 designs here. I got both of them from Creative Fabrica. This one we're going to treat as a single line font. It is a little bit thick for a single line font, but we're just going to do the outside edge of this design, and then we're going to use this one for more of a fill pattern. Let's start with this one because it's going to take less time. We're going to right click and ungroup this because I want to show you how we're going to do the multicolor designs. I'm going to do Happy and the leaves here with the yellow pen, and I'm going to do New Year in black. So we are going to select Happy, hold down our Shift key and select both of these leaves, right click and group them together. Now we can open up our sketch and stipple panel, and because we are just going to sketch the edge here, we can click on sketch edge, select this, sketch edge, go over to the send panel, and it is lit up. I'm not sure why it disappears. Let's switch our line color up. That might help, huh? There we go. For some reason that line color was set. Okay. That was it. I needed to switch up my line color. That one is very difficult to see. Let's try black. That's a little bit better. We're going to set that up in the corner. Let's go to the send page now, and I'm going to select Happy and the leaves. I have the yellow pen in tool holder 2. So we're going to click on tool to use all selected lines. Now you can see that they are lit up in blue. New Year is lit up in red. That means it's going to use tool holder 1, and that's where I have my black pen. Now I am using the Cameo 5. We're going to switch out our auto blade for the pen, which is detected. And we're going to switch our material to cardstock. We can do the same thing for tool holder 2. You can see the pen holder is detected, and we'll switch this to cardstock plain. This is set to sketch. Tool holder 1 is still set to cut. Let's switch this over to sketch, and everything looks like it is ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and load my paper onto my mat, get that loaded into the machine. Now we can click on send here. The confirm and send panel is going to pop up. We have our material loaded. We have our pens loaded. Now we should be able to click on send. And you can see that it does start sketching right away. This is going rather quickly, again, because we are only doing the outline. It's already completed New Year. It has moved on to the yellow pen, and it's just trucking right along. Okay, this has finished up. You can see that it did just outline the letters. It's not quite a single line font, so there is a gap in between. The leaves were a little bit thinner, so they did better, but we're going to fill in the next design and see how that does. Back over to Silhouette Studio and back to the design page. Let's grab all of this, right click and group it together so it doesn't move around on us. And we can bring on the next design. We do want to set this in a different corner though, because we don't want to sketch in the same spot. I am going to do this in two separate colors again. I'm going to use the Silhouette sketch pens for all of the little stars and the fireworks here. And I'm going to do Happy New Year in black. So let's start off by ungrouping this. We can select Happy, hold down our Shift key, select New Year, right click and group those together. And let's switch up the fill color on those to a light gray for a minute so that we can use our select by color to grab all of the other elements. Let's go over to fill, and we want the black fill. That's selected all of those pieces. Now we can right click and group those together. And now we can switch that color out. We're going to do those in gold. And let's select our Happy New Year so we can see it better. We'll switch it back to black. Once again, we're going to open up our Sketch and Stipple panel. Let's start off with the gold fireworks. We are going to sketch the edge. Let's set our line color to gold. That's very hard to see. We're also going to do a fill on this, and I'm going to do the linear option here, add a striped effect, and you can see that it has added stripes in here, but they're kind of far apart. Let's decrease the spacing a bit until it looks like it's going to be more filled in. And you can play around with all of these other options to see how it looks. And for each one of these, you can adjust the spacing and the angle, but I am going to stick with the striped effect. Now it's going to outline these with the pen, and it's also going to fill it in. That's what we wanted. We're going to release the effects, and that should be good to go. I am going to switch the color over one more time to gold, and now we can work on the letters. Let's select Happy New Year and go through the same process. We're going to sketch the edge, fill in with a striped effect, and I'm going to adjust my spacing just a little bit more so it looks more filled in, and release the effects. Now when we go over to the send page, once again we are going to use both of the tool holders. We want the fireworks to be in tool holder number 1, and that's what they are set to. I'm going to have to switch out my pens, but that's okay. Happy New Year will have to be tool holder number 2. So with that selected, we can click on this button here. That will set that sketch to blue lines, the rest of it in red. So we have tool number 1, tool number 2, and now we just need to switch out our pens and get the mat loaded. I already have the gold sketch pen in the sketch pen holder. This one has to go in carriage number 1. Now we can click on send. Once again, that's going to bring up the confirm and send panel, and send. Now when you are doing a sketch pattern or you're working with the embossing tool or the engraving tool, any of those that require a fill pattern, there's a lot of data that has to be transferred from the software to the machine. Sometimes it will pause like this. You just want to be patient. It will catch up with itself. However, if your machine loses Bluetooth connection at any time during this project, you're going to have to start over. I typically connect my machine with the cord when I am doing any kind of fill project. I did not do that because I'm having an issue with one of my monitors connecting properly, and I didn't want to pull my computer out to hook the machine up to my actual computer. So we're going to sit tight here for just a minute and hopefully it just starts back up. The Bluetooth connection is still there. Everything is lit up. There we go. Again, it is just a lot of data to be transferred. Sometimes it has to catch up with itself. Now we should be good to go. And after all of that, it looks like my sketch pen is not quite down in there all the way, or it's dried out. Either one is a possibility. I'm going to go ahead and pause this, bring my mat out. You can see it was making some marks, but not enough. Here, let's turn the machine all the way off. We're just going to restart this project. I'm going to start by checking to see if my pen is actually working, and it is. So that's going to tell me that my pen was not in far enough. Let's try to get it seated in there better. I'm also going to bump up the force on this a little bit. That'll put a little bit more pressure on it. Let's do a 9. It was at a 7. Going to cancel out this job. And I'm going to see if my cord will actually reach. It will not. I'm going to spin this around here so that my USB cord will fit. It will reach. Because I do not want to pull out my computer right now. It's not going to be the best view, but I am going to plug in. When I plugged in, this box popped up asking if I would like to activate this device at this time. I'm going to click yes because I would like it to connect via the USB cord instead of Bluetooth, and that's going to help the data transfer some. I am going to select all of my design here and just move it over to the other corner, and we are going to try this one more time. I'm clicking on send and send again. And there we go. Between reseating the pen and increasing the force, it is now sketching as it should. And you can see that this design is definitely going to take more time than the first one. Now it's going to go through and it's going to fill in each one of those letters with little dashes, and then it will go through and outline the whole thing. This is what takes the most time, is all of those little teeny lines that it's drawing. Now, even though the second sketch didn't go as planned, I wanted to leave that in the video to show you that sometimes things just don't go as planned. It's really that simple, even for people that have been doing this for years and years. There are some times when they have to stop, regroup, and redo the project. It's really not that big of a deal. It can be frustrating, but if you know how to fix the problems that you're having, then it makes things a lot easier. So the issue that we were having is that the sketch pen was not sketching properly. And we go into troubleshooting mode. The first thing you want to check, of course, is my pen actually working? Because a lot of times pens just get dried out and they are not going to work as you'd expect them to. The pen was working, so then we need to check and make sure that the adapter was seated properly in the tool holder, and I increased the force a little bit. That worked out perfectly. Now I'm just going to wait for this to finish up, and I will check back in just a few minutes when it is done. Okay, so that has finished up. It looks like my black pen was skipping a bit. It was a Dollar Tree pen. I'm not really shocked at that, but it did fill in the letters. Overall, the design could have turned out better, but it did what it was supposed to do. I'm going to go ahead and link all of the pen adapters shown in this video in the description. I'm going to also link the pens that I have arriving, I think, Saturday. Those are the pens that I'm going to be using to create the project in the next video. So if you want to follow along, you can snag these pens or use whichever ones you have on hand. I'm going to be sketching on black cardstock, and I'll also link the file that I'm going to be using. It is from Creative Fabrica, so check out all of the supplies, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.